For millions of years, Earth has been home to a breathtaking variety of life. Some species vanished naturally, others disappeared because of us. But now, with the advance of science, we're standing at the edge of something once thought impossible, bringing extinct animals back to life. We're not talking about fossils in museums. We're talking about creatures that once walked through forests, tundras, and islands, and that might soon walk again. One of the most famous candidates is the woolly mammoth. Extinct for around 4,000 years, it was one of the last survivors of the Ice Age. These hairy giants roamed the cold steppes of the Arctic, what we now know as Siberia, Alaska, and parts of Canada. They were built for extreme cold with dense fur, massive curved tusks, and a thick layer of fat. But as the planet warmed, their habitats shrank, and combined with hunting by early humans, the mammoths disappeared. Now, scientists are trying to bring them back, not just for curiosity. Some believe that restoring mammoths could help revitalize Arctic ecosystems and even slow the thawing of permafrost, a major threat in the climate crisis. The plan is to combine mammoth DNA, extracted from frozen fossils, with the DNA of Asian elephants, creating something like an Arctic elephant. If all goes well, we could see the first calves born within the next few years. Another animal that scientists dream of seeing again is the thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger. It was a carnivorous marsupial, looking like a dog but with a pouch like a kangaroo. The species went extinct in the early 20th century, with the last known thylacine dying in 1936 in a Tasmanian zoo. Colonial settlers viewed the thylacine as a threat to livestock, and it was hunted relentlessly. Bounty programs, habitat loss, and disease sealed its fate. Today, with the full genome of the thylacine mapped, researchers are working on cloning and gene editing techniques to recreate the animal. They aim to use a close relative, like the dunnart, as a genetic base to eventually develop a live thylacine embryo. Next, we travel to Mauritius, a small island in the Indian Ocean, once home to the iconic dodo. This flightless bird weighed about 15 kilograms and had no natural predators. Until humans arrived, within a century of its discovery, by 1681, the dodo was gone. Sailors hunted it, and invasive species like rats and pigs destroyed its eggs. Today, the dodo is a symbol of human-driven extinction, but scientists are hoping to change that. By sequencing its DNA and using close living relatives, like the Nicobar pigeon, researchers plan to insert dodo genes into modern bird embryos. The goal isn't just to bring back a lost species, but also to raise awareness about conservation and the fragility of isolated ecosystems. Another contender is the aurochs, the wild ancestor of today's domestic cattle. These massive, muscular animals once roamed across Europe, Asia, and North Africa. They were central to many ancient ecosystems, helping shape the landscape through grazing and movement. The last known aurochs died in Poland in 1627, after centuries of hunting and shrinking habitats. Unlike other de-extinction efforts, this one doesn't rely on cloning. Instead, scientists are using breeding back, selecting ancient cattle breeds that still carry aurochs-like traits. Through careful breeding over generations, they hope to recreate animals that resemble aurochs in appearance and ecological role, and eventually reintroduce them to European landscapes. Then there's the passenger pigeon, once the most abundant bird in North America. In the 1800s, there were billions of them. Flocks were so huge, they darkened the sky for hours as they passed. But industrial-scale hunting and deforestation led to their rapid decline. The last known passenger pigeon, named Martha, died in 1914 in a Cincinnati zoo. Scientists are now working to bring the passenger pigeon back using the DNA of its closest living relative, the band-tailed pigeon. By editing genes and reintroducing the birds to native forests, they hope to restore part of the ecological balance that was lost, especially in seed dispersion and forest dynamics. Another fascinating candidate is the Steller sea cow, discovered in 1741 in the cold waters of the Bering Sea. This gentle marine giant could grow up to 9 meters long and weigh around 10 tons. It fed on kelp and had no natural predators until humans arrived. Within just 27 years of its discovery, it was hunted to extinction for its meat and fat. Scientists are now exploring the possibility of bringing it back using the DNA of its closest living relatives, dugongs and manatees. Restoring Stellar's sea cow could help regenerate kelp forest ecosystems, which are now under threat due to climate change and pollution. Lastly, we have the saber-toothed cat, also known as Smilodon. This predator roamed the Americas during the Pleistocene about 10,000 years ago. Famous for its massive canines and powerful build, the Smilodon hunted large herbivores like bison and camels. It was part of the megafauna that vanished at the end of the last ice age, possibly due to rapid climate shifts and human hunting. While bringing back a saber-toothed cat poses serious ethical and ecological questions, the science behind it is advancing. Researchers are analyzing fossil DNA and comparing it to modern big cats, like lions and tigers, to understand how a revival could one day be attempted. Next on our list is the Pyrenea ibex, also known as the bucardo. This mountain goat once roamed the Pyrenees between France and Spain. It was officially declared extinct in 2000 when the last known individual, a female named Celia, died. But in 2003, something incredible happened. Scientists cloned her using preserved cells, and a baby ibex was born. Unfortunately, it died just minutes later due to a lung defect, but this was still a historic moment. It marked the first time an extinct animal had been brought back, even briefly. Today, researchers continue to study cloning techniques with the goal of one day reintroducing the bucardo to the wild permanently. Let's talk about the Carolina parakeet, a brightly colored, social parrot that once filled the skies of the eastern United States. It lived in large flocks, nested in hollow trees, and played a key role in seed dispersal across forests. But deforestation, hunting, and disease spread by domesticated birds led to its decline. The last known individual died in 1918 in captivity. Scientists are now analyzing preserved specimens in museums to extract usable DNA using gene editing technology and closely related parrot species like the sun parakeet. They hope to revive the Carolina parakeet and restore its lost ecological role in American forests. And finally, we look at the great auk, a flightless seabird once found across the North Atlantic. Sometimes called the penguin of the North, the great auk stood about 75 centimeters tall and lived on rocky islands, nesting in large colonies. It was hunted extensively for its meat, feathers, and oil. By the mid-1800s, it was gone. The last confirmed pair was killed in 1844. Today, efforts are underway to recover its genome and potentially reintroduce the species using close relatives like the razorbill. Reviving the great auk could restore ecological balance in coastal environments and reconnect us with a species that vanished entirely due to human exploitation. Bringing back extinct animals is a dream deeply rooted in our imagination. And now, with the tools of genetics, it's becoming possible. But it also raises big questions. Should we do it? Can these animals survive in today's world? Perhaps the most important lesson here isn't about resurrection, but about responsibility. We've lost countless species in just the past few centuries. If science gives us the chance to fix a few of those mistakes, maybe we should listen. But even more importantly, we need to protect what's still alive before it's too late.